Hey friends, and welcome back to the Mental Toughness Case Study Series, where we analyze, dissect, take specific case studies to truly understand what mental toughness is in all of its forms. And today, in honor of the hostages that have started to come back home after more than 470 days of captivity, I want to take a really inspiring and unique example, one that if you're not from Israel, you may have not have heard of, but if you are, then it's a good opportunity to remind you what this mental toughness looks like in a whole new sense that most people really wouldn't refer to it as, and it is the story of Rachel Edri. Rachel is a 64-year-old woman who lives in a small town called Ofakim. It's just about 30 kilometers, about 18 miles off of the Gaza Strip. And on the morning of October 7th, she is sitting, having her morning coffee with her husband, when all of a sudden, 5 bloodthirsty terrorists just barge in, take AK-47s to her head, grenades to her head, and hold her and her husband hostage, turning their house into a bunker and preparing to just keep going rampant through the streets to kill as many people as possible. Now, I want you just to truly envision the scenario. There is a grenade being held to her head. There are guns being held to her body. She's in a chokehold. And what would a normal person say in this state? Maybe they would say something like, "Please spare my life. I'm just an old lady. Please forgive, don't, please, anything, just let me live." But what does she say? She says, "You must be hungry. Let me make you something to eat. Are you thirsty? Can I get you a Coke?" And all of a sudden, she turns these crazy, barbaric human beings into guests. She even literally says that. Watch what she says in the interview following her release. We'll tell you the story in a moment, but see how she refers to them.
כל מי שנכנס אליי הביתה, קודם כל זה הכנסת אורחים שלי, באמת. אני קודם כל זה מצווה מבורא עולם לעשות הכנסת אורחים. אני לא לקחתי אותם בתור מחבלים.
Did you hear the words that came out of her mouth? Anyone that comes into my house are guests. Anyone means everyone, and that means even these crazy, bloodthirsty terrorists are coming into her house, and she says, first things first, they are my guests. And she treats them in such a manner. She sings to them, she entertains them, she brings them cookies, food, anything she can in order to stall, in order to extend the amount of time before them potentially killing her.
אני אומרת להם, אתם רוצים לשתות, אתם רוצים לאכול עוד, אתם עוד רעבים, וזה בשביל למשוך את הזמן ללילה.
And how long does she manage to keep them there? For 19 hours. These are 19 hours that she managed to hold 5 terrorists with weapons from running rampant in the streets and killing more totally innocent civilians. And she keeps serving them and serving them. And the reason why I say this is because if we pause and look at the theory of mental toughness, we usually talk about the values that drive the people in times of mental toughness. Now, for the most part, you think about all the people that are sitting at the top, the Jordans, the Serenas, all the examples that everyone's talked about more than enough. These are people who wanted to be the best, to do the best, and to be at that achievement, that ego-oriented level. But she is talking about the flip side. She is from a place of service, from a place of benevolence. She is looking at these individuals and saying, how can I serve you? What can I do to answer your needs? And it is that approach that managed to save her life. And after 19 hours of being held hostage within her own house, finally, the security forces come, they break down the wall, they manage to take out all 5 terrorists, not harming, not even scratching her and her husband, and she manages to get out alive. Now, I think there's so much to take from this, but in regards to mental toughness, there are 2 things. Number 1 is this flip side of the ego-oriented values, these values related to service. It's something that most people don't think about. It's something that I am extremely curious to consider, to put a lot more focus in my doctoral research, to understand how is that focus on service putting you in a different position. If everyone's trying to be the best, what happens when you're trying to answer the need of others? And in this case, I truly believe that's what saved her life. But what truly made her mentally tough, and this is the second thing that I think we must take from this story, is her ability to keep that value in front of her eyes at all times. That is not a simple thing to do. I always talk about, when I talk with people in my seminars, my workshop, my course in the academia, I ask them, what's your most important value? Good. Are you able now to keep that value in mind at all times? And that is a very challenging thing. She knows somehow that no matter who comes through that door, no matter what happens, she knows to refer to them as guests. She literally looks them dead in the eye as they come with death in their eyes, ready to destroy them and say, "You are still my guests." And that ability to keep your driving value in your mind at all times, in my opinion, is one of the truly most inspirational things about this story. This is a really great story to do a mental toughness analysis. And with that, I want to ask you, if you have more cases that you want me to analyze, examples that you think are worthy of further exploration, please send me a DM, send me any kind of link, context, article. I'll be more than glad to create that kind of content for this group, share it with people, and that's it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something. I'll see you soon.
אלוהים יעזור לי.